Welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world! Why do you say that, Pat? There's got to be another station like us somewhere. It's like aliens. Somewhere in the world there's got to be one.
Maybe in another planet, maybe.
Well, so maybe there's another station out there. Maybe there's another Ask Brien.
Maybe it's an alien Ask Brien.
So, people that have never listened to the Ask Brien radio show, we basically interview each week a startup company, a CEO, a new concept, or someone that can teach business lessons to people. And this show is like any other show that we've done. People have also asked me all the time about Ask Brien. They always ask, why do you spell Brien with an E? And why do you use Brien when your name is Peter? So, without any further ado, how do you spell that?
A-D-I-E-U.
And why do I like that name?
Because every single letter except the D is a vowel.
That's correct. So, but many people don't understand why we chose Brien. We chose Brien for two reasons. One of which is, if you ever try to get a domain name and you look up all the possible domain names with a proper noun, there's only three available. It was Ask Milt, Ask Hall, or Ask Brien with an E. And since I drink once in a while and go to O'Brien's, the pub.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie though. Ask Milt would have been really funny though. Oh, my name's Milt.
And I never heard of Hall. And then
Sure.
until my sister told me, hey, my nephew's name is Alex Hall Moffley Bronstein. I was like, okay. I didn't even know it was a name. I thought it was like the place I go down the street to play pool. So when I was growing up, everyone spelled Brien B-R-Y-A-N, B-R-I-A-N. Not too many people spelled it with an E unless they were Irish, and the name was O'Brien, and they were down at the pub. Not saying that everyone was at the pub, but quite a few, or O'Malley's or wherever. Anyway, it's not St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Not yet.
Well, considering your name is Patrick.
This is true. This is true.
So, Patrick has volunteered today.
What? What?
To appear on the Gong Show.
Oh, no.
So if he doesn't get one, then we're going to hit a gong. If we hit 3 gongs, he's out.
No.
So why, besides the E standing for engineer or excellent or experts,
It took 3.
Why do you have the E?
Well, you know what? Okay, fine. You took 3 of them away. Fine and dandy. You took away.
Because you have 3 gongs you're out, so this
No,
way
you're right.
you can't get thrown out.
Okay.
You didn't think about it that way.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Well,
All right.
you know what? I'll give you the ones that you didn't go for. So the other ones we have that actually have to do with, the Ask Brien show and like the kind of symbolic and themes with our show. The one, not the ones that you said. We have effort because everybody here gives 110% effort in what they do here at the Ask Brien show.
And I still don't understand how you can give more than 100%.
Go beyond your limits.
Well, even if you go beyond your limits, how is that possible?
Listen. I don't know, but it's
All right.
It happens. Let's see. We have
Don't worry, I'm not interviewing you. I'm going to interview somebody else.
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to have to deal with those answers.
experts, which leads us to experts because everybody on the Ask Brien show is an expert in some form of their whatever their field is.
What are you an expert in?
Engineering.
Wow.
I mean,
Save the world.
Yikes. Well, and then there are 2 other ones that these ones happen to be your forte. So I'll do one. You obviously do the other. There's excitement and
Enthusiasm!
yeah. There we go.
If you're not enthusiastic and you're not excited, you're just not going to make it.
This is true.
It's also reference to passion.
Very true. Very
What
true.
else?
Let's see.
I'm never empathetic.
Did you already took empathy though, didn't you?
No, I'm just saying it now.
Oh, well, and then
Yeah, but
empathy.
let's highlight the fact that he said he's never empathetic.
You know what? Yeah. Progress.
I'm in the 12-step program.
Well, empathy would be the other one. He's showing empathy for that.
That combined with his references to so many pubs, maybe.
Well, all that I have to say if you're on Facebook is good drinking.
He's drinking water, everybody. Water.
Yeah, that's what they all say when they put that stuff in the cup.
At least it's not a flask.
This is true. I think we got everything. Or is there the new ones? I don't remember the new ones.
Well,
enlighten me.
We've been
hey,
we've been going.
That starts with an E.
We've been going for a while, and our guest is like anxiously waiting, and he's all nervous and he's freaking out and he doesn't know what's going to happen. So, and I do know this person for more than 1 year, so more than a couple years. So, without any further ado,
3 decades.
Whoa! Now everyone's going to think I'm old.
we are that old, Peter/Brien.
So without any further ado, we're going to introduce our co-host, Tracy. Tracy, you there?
I am here. Hello, everybody.
And then we have an excellent guest that I've known for a couple years. His name is David. Bay!
That was impressive, Peter. Tracy, pleasure to be here. Patty, thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
And by the way, I'm learning yodeling, so next show I might be able to do it with a yodel.
And next year I won't be here when that happens.
That's because you've been in Swiss Alps doing a special assignment for the Ask Brien show, interviewing the yodelers. So we're here, David. I know a little bit about your background, but nobody else does. So I wanted to quickly go over your background, and I'm going to go over what you're working on currently. You have quite a successful career. I know you started out that very, very big and famous company that I was part of as well. What was that company name?
It was named Mailboxes, Etc., the fastest growing franchise at the time. I think we were opening up one franchise every day. So that was a great success story led by Tony DeCio, which ultimately was sold to UPS and became the UPS store.
And so you started out working there right out of college?
Right out of college. That's where I met you and had the fortune of working closely with you from a legal and marketing perspective, and was there for about 5 years, and then parted ways because Coldwell Banker, which was right up the road at the time, corporation, asked me to come work for them in the marketing department. So I had a senior level marketing position with Coldwell Banker, and from there, that only lasted about a year, and then we got bought out by a company called HFS, Hospitality Franchise Systems, which evolved into Sending Corporation, and that was a Fortune 500 publicly traded company, and so I moved back east and spent about 5-6 years on the East Coast, and started a division with some of my colleagues called the Preferred Alliance division, which generated about $100 million in just a few years. And I think at that time we were up to almost 12, 13 franchises, ranging from Coldwell Banker, since they got acquired, to Century 21, Sotheby's. Hospitality Franchise System started as a hospitality, obviously, a company, and they owned Wyndham and Ramada, Days Inn, Travelodge, the list goes on, as well as Avis, Rent-A-Car, Budget Rent-A-Car. So got to really cut my teeth into franchising with Mailbox, et cetera, but I carried that experience over to Coldwell Banker and thus Sending Corporation, and then from there ended up back on the West Coast, and I was the Chief Operating Officer for about 6, almost 7 years for Realtor.com. So all those who are looking for homes, which seems to be frequent nowadays, and seeing the home prices skyrocket, Realtor.com was the number one real estate website back when we were running it. So with my business partner, who is my business partner today, Adam left. He was the head of marketing, and I oversaw the operation side of it.
Well, that's a very impressive resume you got there. Now, so you said your partner was in charge of marketing. You were what was your position at Realtor?
I was Chief Operating Officer. So basically had to make sure that everything was running on time. So marketing, operations, sales, the MLS data, so on and so forth. So it was a big position. It was a great opportunity. Although it wasn't a franchise business, we had over 1 million realtors that we were serving and had the honor of serving because Realtor.com was the site for the national Association of Realtors, which is the biggest trade organization in the country. So, yeah, it was a fun job. And Adam and I worked together on that for about, like I said, 6-7 years. And then Adam convinced me to start our own company. So that was my first foray into the entrepreneurial industry, if you will. And we started our own company. And today it's called Merchant Centric. And that's what I've been doing and have been working closely with Adam. And we have a team of about 50 or so in our company.
And what is Merchant Centric?
Yeah, merchant-centric, very high level. What we do is we help all sorts of businesses, whether they're individual mom-and-pop businesses, independents, or large brands. Really, our whole goal has always been and continues to be, it's about increasing revenue for them. And we do that in primarily two different ways, through enhanced customer engagement, and I'll explain what that means in a second, as well as really uncovering actionable insights that help improve their operations, which thus will lead to more revenue. So we have right now a little over 50,000 customers, location customers, and essentially what our platform does in very simple terms is it allows businesses, again, whether they're one individual business or a large brand, we have several customers that are well over 1,000 locations, where they can compare they can easily and effectively enhance their customer engagement on top review sites like Google, Yelp, Facebook, TripAdvisor. So it aggregates all those consumer reviews and allows that business to be able to engage instantaneously with their customer. So that's one benefit. The other thing our platform does is it's great competitive intelligence. It allows our businesses to compare their consumer reviews and their ratings to their competitors from the brand level all the way down to the location level. It also, from an analytical perspective, and this is really where we have a huge differentiation, we have, and this is all proprietary software that we've developed, our proprietary analytics allows businesses to identify where they can improve their operation to increase their revenue. So it goes into all the review content and identifies specifically where they can improve their typically operations. I would say 90% of the time it has to do with operations. And then finally, what we do is we provide really, I think, the best reporting out there from senior management all the way down to the location level to track the business's results and their success. So our database right now has over 19 million businesses where if you were a client of ours, you could go right into the platform and choose any of those businesses that are competitive to you and see how they're doing through all the review content. We've got 835 million reviews in our database, which go back many, many years. So we use that for some of our analytics to pinpoint and spotlight what is important to the business to drive revenue.
Anyone can sign up. So you could be a mom and pop. You could own a furniture store down the street on Main Street where we are in Newhall, or you could be McDonald's Corporation, say I got 50,000 locations in Western California. I want them all to sign up. So you take anyone, correct?
Yeah, we take any business that's brick and mortar, so consumer facing. You can walk in and do business with them. So our key categories range from food and beverage, so restaurants. Automotive is a big vertical for us. Health services, we have thousands of veterinarians as an example, dentists, doctors, because you can imagine the reviews online on those sites are extremely important to those businesses and those practitioners. So those are some key categories, but we also have the largest publicly traded mortuary cemetery business in the country with almost 2,000 locations. So it's anything that serves the customer, because all customers or guests or clients, depending on which vertical it is, they all love to write reviews and really share what went well and where could there be improvement with the business.
Well, so how do you aggregate so many reviews? I mean, I would think that somehow you've got to get, anytime somebody makes a review anywhere, somehow it's got to get onto your platform. How does that happen?
That is through, and that's really one of the assets that we have, is through our proprietary technology where we go out and get those reviews. And I can share with you a lot of that experience came from when we were at Realtor.com and we were aggregating all the MLS content. So this is not easy to do. And we took really a couple years to develop the technology before we went out and started selling it. And so we aggregate it through our own technology, or proprietary technology, which brings it into the platform. That's what our customers were asking for. They told us loud and clear, we want to go to one spot and be able to reply and engage with our customers and our guests in one platform. So that's what we worked a couple years on, and we spent millions and millions on developing that technology.
But so the data isn't stored; it's just in the cloud or somewhere else, and you just so for instance, somebody goes on and I own a furniture store in Newhall, so it'll pop up, and then I get access to all of my reviews wherever it's posted, or is it or it must be limited to a certain group, right? You said Yelp, Google. Is it any review?
Yeah. So we focused on what we think are the key and the most important review sites, consumer review sites. So Yelp, Google, Facebook, TripAdvisor has a lot of reviews. They're growing. And then you can get very segmented as well, especially during COVID. As you can imagine, one of the industries that was hit the hardest was the restaurant category. And so free of charge, we developed what we called our COVID Spotlight report, because there's a lot of mentions, especially in 2021, from consumers that were going in and experiencing, it could be any business, but in this case, the restaurants, and whether employees were wearing their masks or their gloves, or how, were they social distancing. So we were able to, through, again, our artificial intelligence, identify in all the review contents for that business, whether it was at the individual location or it rolls up into a region, or ultimately at the corporate level, which locations were following protocol and which ones weren't. And I think it's a pleasant surprise and good news that a lot of businesses out there were doing a great job managing COVID and making sure that they were being safe, and they were using the reviews, quite frankly, as a promotional vehicle to be able to go out and talk to consumers to reassure them, come to XYZ restaurant or XYZ automotive, and you will have a great experience, because look at what our customers are saying about us. So, COVID kind of has a negative connotation, obviously, but you can actually turn that around, and there were many, many businesses across the country that did a great job managing it.
Well, XYZ Restaurant and XYZ Automotive are my favorites, so I go to both of those places. I'm surprised you mentioned them, but nice plug for XYZ. And we're not talking about the zipper company. So we only have about 1 minute left, and I just some of the people want to know, if I have a business, okay, and I've got all these reviews, are you going to help me write the review? Are you going to give me tips and educational information on what I can do for a bad review, or how does that work?
Yeah, excellent question. I know we have just a minute before break. So the answer to that is, when we started, it was all self-serve, and you have to reply on your own. But we do give suggested replies, again, through our AI, on how to address it based on the sentiment. Was it a positive or a negative or neutral? What was the main point of the review? Did it have to do with their product? Did it have to do with the service? Did it have to do with their atmosphere within the business? And we've evolved, so we still offer that. That's important to have self-serve, but we also are getting ready to reply to our 700,000th review, because our customers are saying, can you do this for us? And we do have a full-service aspect to it, and we've been doing that for probably 4 years now, and it's done very, very well. You have to understand the voice of the client, as well as how do they want to reply, and escalation processes, and so on and so forth. So we offer both self-serve as well as full-serve.
Thanks. We're going to take a break. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you. If you have a business problem, If someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence in creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
If you'd like to take your business up a notch, take a look at Elite Magazine.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our valley's two leading magazines, the Magazine of Santa Clarita and Elite.
I'm so proud of Elite. It allows your advertisement to stand out. We distribute Elite to 50,000 homes and businesses. You'll find us in 1,900 local hotel rooms.
Discover how Elite Magazine can help your business. Call 294-4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. We have our guest, David Bay from Merchant Centric, and we have our co-host, Tracy.
Oh, Lord.
Just wait till I get the yodeling down.
No, I would just wish my name had been Adrian, because it just would have been so much more.
Well, don't worry.
At least it would have sounded like it made sense anyway.
Well, for Facebook and YouTube, we're going to find a staircase. I'm going to run up the staircase with my arms like Rocky.
Okay. Can I just say for the record, nobody wants to see that.
Or I could just Photoshop a picture of his face on a Rocky.
Hold on, Tracy, you are not very empathetic.
I could always Photoshop your face on a Rocky, so it looks like it.
My body already does. All right.
Oh, good. Okay, let's get back to the issue. Let's get back to the real exciting, which is our guest, David. And so before the break, you guys spoke a lot about the review side of your business, and but I know you have a lot of other services outside of just the review component. So let's walk through what other service offerings you have, and then an area where maybe you're going to be might have a void in those service offerings that you're going to plug that hole in.
Sure. Thanks, Tracy. So, I kind of went right into, which is still extremely important, will continue to be important, the engagement with customers, whether it's on Yelp or Google or Facebook or TripAdvisor. But the foundational part of the solution is what we call our business listing optimization. And this is really, and I do say it's foundational, because I think most business for the majority of the business, if not all of them, have addressed what their visibility is online. And what I mean by that is foundationally, you need to be able to have your listing on top sites like Yelp, like Google, like Facebook, and be able to have the accurate and robust information on those sites. So you, have to make sure that your information is accurate. And that's really important across all sites because Google's algorithm when it comes to search engine optimization or SEO, they look at the consistency and the accuracy of that business's content on all of those sites. So as an example, you need to make sure that on Yelp you have your address on there, and that address matches exactly the same address that you have on Google. There's businesses out there that may say we're on 123 Elm Street, and street will be spelled out on Yelp, but on Google they'll abbreviate street to ST period, and that, believe it or not, definitely sets back the SEO side of the business because Google, their algorithm, when you're searching as a consumer, they want to see consistency across the board. So that's one element. The second one is they also want to see review content. They measure that. So the more reviews you have, the more higher you're going to get ranked in SEO. The other thing is that they want to see if you're engaging, so responding to those reviews. And then thirdly, they want to see photos on that site too. So from a business listing optimization perspective, we help businesses get those sites set up, get them claimed, get them enhanced, and make sure that they're accurate. So that's the first thing. Then I mentioned the platform, which also allows you on the review reputation management side. We've talked a bit about that. We also have an analytics, which is primarily for the bigger brands that have, let's say, 20 locations or more, where we actually go in and do what we call a BPA, business performance analysis, taking all the review content, taking their competitors that they've identified review content, and getting in and comparing exactly what are they doing well and what are they not doing so well. And we also, through a non-disclosure agreement, get the financial information from the client. So we overlay that, and we're able to identify financially where they should really be focusing to increase their revenues. So that's kind of a broad brushstroke of our solution suite.
And then when we were talking over the break, you were talking about integration of some social media services.
Yeah, one of the voids that we have, and we're called merchant-centric for a reason because we really do focus the business on what's most important to the merchant or the business. And one of the things our customers have continued and clients have continued to come back and ask for, and by the way, we have a 98.3% retention rate, which is unheard of. So not only do we keep our clients once they join up with us, and we have the privilege and the pleasure of serving them, they actually add more products as well. But one of the things they've been asking for, and we are now developing, is, okay, we got the review sites taken care of. What about on the social side, like Instagram, like Twitter, like Facebook posts? That's different than Facebook reviews. So we're in the process right now with our phenomenal technology team and led by Anthony Patassi, building out and making sure, and this should be available probably Q3 right now, to integrate into the platform. So not only will it be the review content, it will be what we call the social management part, which is, again, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook posts.
That's fantastic. So if you have a tremendous background in business development and growth strategy for companies, tell me a little bit about your prospecting opportunities. Like, what types of clients are you looking for, and what process do you go through in trying to gain new clients, and what is the biggest selling point with the opportunity to work with a new brand?
Sure. So great question. Even though we've been around merchant-centric for a little over 7 years, we still consider ourselves a startup, and we will be, in fact, probably within the next week, be looking to expand our sales team. Right now, we have two parts of our company. We have direct sales and we have business development. And we are a growing company, so we're going to be looking to hire if anybody out there is interested. We're based out of Westlake Village here outside of L.A., and we are working remotely right now, probably will continue to, so you don't have to necessarily come into the office on a daily basis. But to answer your question, we are looking at those core verticals and reaching out to them. We have all the content, the review content for those brands. So let's say we wanted to go out. Peter mentioned McDonald's earlier. That's a huge brand, obviously, but let's use them as the example. We have all the reviews for McDonald's, so we could go to them and say, hey, here's what you guys are doing. Here's what McDonald's is doing well based on your review content. Here's where the consumers are saying you have challenges and you need to improve. that type of prospecting and that data helps us get our foot in the door to be able to pitch and sell our overall solution. So our data is phenomenal to be able to get our foot in the door. So we have a direct sales team, and then we have partnerships, which I will call resellers, that go out and work in specific segments where they've actually integrated our solution and our data into their platform to be able to sell it to their customer base. So those are two ends. I can also share with you that we have private equity firms coming to us with all the data, and they're utilizing our data and analyzing our data to help understand what's going on with a potential acquisition. So they'll use our data as just another source or resource to analyze acquisitions and such. So there's a lot of different angles of expanding this company, but we remain very committed to staying focused on direct sales and biz dev partnerships.
And so talking through some of those brands that you're currently working with, can you share who some of those brands are and some of the success stories and different ways that they've leveraged your services?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for asking. On the restaurant side, Firehouse Subs, when they started with us, they were at about 700 locations. They are up to 1,200 now in the last few years. They've grown significantly. They've been a client of ours for 5 years now. Fogo de Chow's another one, Umami Burger. I'm just Walk-Ons. Walk-Ons is a great success story. Brandon was a walk-on at LSU for the basketball team, and his partner is a gentleman by the name of Drew Brees. For those of you who are familiar with the New Orleans Saints, he was the quarterback. He just retired. But they're growing. I heard Brandon on CNBC just recently say that they already have 150 Walk-Ons locations pre-sold. So they're in growth mode and they're an emerging brand. On the automotive side, Jiffy Lube, one of our great customers, Christian Brothers, based out of Texas, they're also in growth mode. And then you've got health services, like I mentioned, VCA, which is one of the largest vet hospitals. They've been a client of ours for over 5 years. Dignity Memorial is the cemetery mortuary business that I had mentioned earlier. So we've got a really diverse group of customers and clients, and we whether they have one location or they have 2,000 locations, we respect and love them all.
That's fantastic. So let's kind of shift gears for a moment and talk about your entrepreneurial journey. At the beginning of the show, you were talking about how your business partner had convinced you to basically go from corporate America into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship. Can you tell us a little bit first about when you were making that decision? Did you have any apprehensions around it, and what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Sure. Apprehensions, absolutely. It took them a year for me to convince to walk away from corporate America. Do I still have apprehensions? Absolutely. I mean, it's the most challenging yet rewarding position and opportunity that I've ever had. And I can tell you, and all those entrepreneurs who have started their own business can relate to this, it is really, really, really hard to not only build a business, but start it from the ground up. And when I mentioned we have almost 50 team members, I mean, it's not only the 50 team members, but it's all of their significant others, their children, their wife, their spouse, whomever it may be. I mean, those are all part of the company, and we take that very seriously. So going back to that decision-making process, it was difficult, and it was rewarding, though. So we're literally, my business partner, Adam, and I started going out and knocking on doors locally here to see if we could sell this solution and get feedback from local merchants, and we did that. There's nothing like just walking into a business, and we didn't even have our solution built yet, but it gave us feedback, and then we were able to pre-sell a few, and then ultimately we grew it from there. So from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's great knowing that you control your destiny. I can tell you there's pros and cons to corporate America versus owning your own business. When you're at a big corporation, you have a lot more resources, a lot more funds to tap into, but you have a lot more bureaucracy. And so I would not take back being an entrepreneur at all. I think that there's, like I said, nothing more rewarding to be able to see your business grow, but most importantly, see the smiles and hear the great feedback we're getting from our clients when we're helping them generate more revenue.
Well, when you're talking through about the stresses of, I think that's such a good point that we should delve a little deeper into. Is like when you're starting out, it's okay to be feeling like, I think, taking risks on your own as an entrepreneur, because the only person that you're really impacting at that point is yourself and you and your business partner working together on that. But as a business expands and grows and you start building a team and then they're relying on you financially, there's a lot of pressure associated with that. I mean, a lot of times I think people just think about entrepreneurship from the fact of freedom and flexibility. But two quotes I've heard a lot. One is, you leave working 40 hours a week for someone else to work 80 hours a week for yourself. And then another quote that I've never forgotten is someone said, no, you're not working for yourself. You're working for your clients. They're your new boss. And those things are kind of somewhat obvious if you've been an entrepreneur for as long as you have on your journey. But the whole financial responsibility aspect, that really that's a stressful part of running a business.
It's a really stressful part, and I mean, I did this when I was in corporate America as well. I mean, you got to really manage all your dollars and your cents, but even more so, it's under a microscope. You make one bad decision, that can be times 10 when you're working on your own and have your own company, where maybe it's not the case with a corporation. So every dollar, every cent is extremely valuable. I can tell you that one of the things that, and I get asked this quite a bit, what do you need to be a successful business? And the first thing in this order is I have strong faith. Number one is faith and God. So that's number one. The second thing is family. You got to make sure, and by the way, when we interview new team members coming on board, we want to talk to their spouse or their significant other or even their kids. We welcome that, because that person, to your point, Tracy, is going to be spending more than 40 hours working and helping us build our company, because it is our company. It's not my company. It's not Adam's company. It's our company. So the number two thing is make sure that you have the support. I have a phenomenal wife in Margie and my kids, Brien and Lauren. They have been with this, since day one and have been extremely supportive. And that's a must, or else it's not going to be successful, because your professional life carries over to your personal life and vice versa. The third thing is finding the right business partner. I've talked a little bit about Adam, and we've worked together for over 20 years. We are the yin and the yang, but we complement each other extremely well. That's really important. And I would put as 3B or 3A, and I think they're interchangeable, make sure that you have the right investors. Our investors are phenomenal. We have several investors who have built businesses from the ground up and have had very successful exits, and they are very engaged when we need them to be, and they've always been there. So that would be the other element of it, is make sure that you have, if you're still privately held, which we are, have the right investors.
I have a question for you. Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
So my question is, with investors, I mean, those are like your bosses as well, right? You have to follow what they want and do what they want. So it's almost like having your own boss, even though you're on your own. And my question is, how much of an influence is that? Because if you have an investor and they've invested money, they're going to tell you, hey, it has to be done this way. And you say, well, that's not our way. You hired us to do it, per se. How does that work out?
Yeah, then I would not have that investor as part of our company if they tell us how to do it. I can tell you that, again, we are extremely blessed to have the investors that we have, and we spend a lot of time up front, just like they did with us. Believe me, they're not investing in the company unless they understand it inside and out. This was not somebody just showing up and saying, we're going to write you an X amount of dollar check. And again, we've raised millions and millions in this company, and we take that very seriously, obviously. So to answer your question, Peter, from day one, we really have what I would say 4 lead investors. All 4 of them have different elements and different skill sets that they bring to the table. And not once have we ever been told that you can't do that. And we've been recommended strongly. And by the way, these are very successful people. So of course, we're going to take that into account. But there has never been any animosity, angst amongst us. There's been some tough discussions, but that's all part of going back to what I was laying out, to make sure you have the right investors. Because if they're coming in and they don't make it clear on what they are looking for as far as a timeline with an exit, if you decide to do that, or how much they're looking to put in, or understanding that your business may need more money than you originally anticipated, because that's always the case, those things are all critical up front when you're talking to potential investors.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com, located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
There is only one language spoken at Thai Dish, and it sounds something like this.
This is great.
Once people get a taste of Thai dishes, there's really no reason to do any more talking. Make it full of flavor, make it delicious, only at Thai Dishes. Enjoy the atmosphere, love the food. Thai Dishes on Valencia Boulevard for free delivery, 253-FOOD. That's 253 FOOD.
Join the Canyon Theater Guild for in-person workshops for children up to 17 years old this summer. Kids become their favorite fairy tale characters in Character Matters, Return of the Fairy Tale Advice Council. Juniors take to the high seas in Dave the Brave and the Pirateers, facing crocodiles, sirens, and the notorious pirate Lady Legs. Be our guest with the stars and Disney's Beauty and the Beast Jr. Call 661-799-2702 or visit canyontheater.org.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
We salute our veterans who sacrifice for our freedom. Every week, we share an inspirational story of a local veteran on our Hometown Heroes page at hometownstation.com. Thanks to our good friends at Eternal Valley.
I'm Richard Nunnally, General Manager of Eternal Valley Memorial Park and Mortuary. We believe taking care of each other is what community is all about. We're proud to bring you the stories of our hometown heroes.
Eternal Valley, life well celebrated.
Visit hometownstation.com, sponsored by Eternal Valley.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with my co-host Tracy and our guest David. And I don't know why this man over here, this engineer, keeps on playing around with the sound. He somehow thinks something's going to happen, but he knows.
Do I?
He knows that the Ask Brien Radio Show is like no other station in the world on Ask Brien. Has the Ask Brien Show. So, Tracy, you had a question, I had a question, and we're going to try to see if we can pound some questions out at this man, Mr. David
Sounds
Bay.
great. I wanted to circle back on the topic of investors. I think one of the big challenges for entrepreneurs scaling businesses is when is the right time to seek investor capital. Can you give us some insight on your experience?
Yeah, absolutely, Tracy. Thanks for the question. So, Adam and I were fortunate enough when we started the business that we had a little bit of money in savings, and we put our own money into the company and actually did not take any salary or compensation for almost 2 years, which was extremely difficult, obviously. And that's, again, going back to having the support of our wives and family was very important. So what we did is purposely did that to be able to go out and do a proof of concept, be able to focus the technology and our solution locally. And once we were able to do that and it was time to scale, then we needed to go out and get money. So I would say once you go out and you prove something, you show the value, you show that there's a need by the customer base, and you're able to fulfill that need, then it's time to scale. And we knew we wanted to get that out there quickly. So that's when we went out and sought private investment from, like I said, a handful of investors.
Peter, Brien?
Okay, are you
With
having
an E.
like, are you schizophrenic? Peter, Brien, Peter, Brien, Peter, Brien. Oh. So, David, some of the people calling in and they want to know, based on your background and experience, if you can provide some tips, what you would do if you were starting a business and how you would scale it.
First of all, you got to make sure that there's something out there that the potential customer needs. I mean, you hear this a lot when you're going to and speaking with entrepreneurs, but you got to understand what the need is. And then I would say I'm sincere about trying to bootstrap it, meaning use your own money, try to do it on your own with yourself, although I would strongly suggest getting a business partner. There's no way I could have done this on my own, or Adam could have done it on his own. I'll speak on his behalf because we've been working together for 20 years, and I know he would say the same thing. So find the right person as a partner, go out there, and like I said, stay local and test it. And nowadays with technology, you don't have to be local. You can try it in different areas across the country, even internationally if the solution's right. And then just hunker down and make sure that you're getting a renewal from that client, because it's one thing to sign them up, but it's a whole nother thing for them to come back and say, I want this again. Whether it's a 6-month term or a year term or whatever the case may be. And by the way, one other thing I would share that I didn't touch on, but I think it's really important, is for businesses out there that want to increase revenue, there's a study out there that we reference. It's a Harvard Business School study that every 1-star increase in your reputation. So if you can take your reputation for your business from, let's say, 3 stars to 4 stars, that is a 5 to 9% increase in your revenue. So that adds up pretty significantly. And our analysis that we've done shows it's 4% to 17%. So whatever it is, by increasing your reputation, by upping your rating on Yelp and Google, Facebook, so on and so forth, you're going to generate significant increase in dollars and hopefully profitability. So that's something I wanted to touch base on. How is the easiest way to increase your ratings? Believe it or not, and we have this proven, is by responding to reviews. It's amazing how many businesses still are not responding to all of their reviews. That's the other thing I want to hammer home. Some businesses out there just think that they should only reply to negative reviews, and all that does is highlight the negative reviews when consumers are looking at your business, considering going to your location, your business, to experience what? Well, if you reply to a review, it's going to highlight that negative review. So reply to all of them. If somebody comes into your business and gives you a compliment, you're not going to turn around and walk away. So why do you do that online? You should reply to every single review. And we've seen time and time again, by just engaging, your ratings will go up because consumers appreciate dialoguing online.
Well, that was fantastic advice on that review thing. I think I'm going to do that myself. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Tracy, great show. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Thank you very much.